So that told me that it was more likely some sort of violent event as opposed to someone, shall we say, getting a nosebleed in bed and just pulling the covers up.
McAdam moves into Arlene's bathroom, looking for a blunt object that might have been used in an attack. There's no weapon, but again he observes something that seems curiously out of place.
I noticed also in the master bathroom there was urine in the toilet. There's 2 cigarettes floating in it, which again did not fit with the place.
Investigators speculate Arlene has been beaten and perhaps killed right here in her own home. The evidence also suggests the attacker lingered for some time after committing the crime.
It probably never occurred to him that if he didn't put the toilet seat down, it would be the immediate sign to the investigators that a man had been in her apartment.
Arlene was a smoker, and she smoked Marlboro cigarettes, which is what I was told. And the ones floating in the toilet were not. They were Basic cigarettes.
Basic, the same brand as the empty pack found near Arlene's body. McAdam then notices that Arlene's bathroom towel might hold even more evidence.
In the main master bathroom, there was a towel on the rack, which was very grubby in appearance. That didn't fit with the rest of the apartment.
On the towel, there appear to be tiny metal particles.
I then took the towel from the bathroom and collected that and sealed that up. Took all of the bedding itself, collected all that, individually separated that and brought it back to the lab.
With no obvious murder weapon, McAdam needs to dig up clues from the forensic evidence. It will be a critical and challenging task. When Arlene went missing 3 weeks earlier, detectives had suspected foul play. Now that Arlene Jensen's body has been found, the case is officially a homicide. And detectives must find the man who had been smoking in Arlene Jensen's apartment. The body of 53-year-old Arlene Jensen has been found near the train tracks in the small town of Woodinville, Washington. Detectives believe Arlene was initially attacked in her own bed. But for now, they have no motive and no suspects.
No doors were kicked in, no windows were broken, which obviously meant one of 2 things. Either the person that went to the apartment had a key to her residence, or whomever it was wasn't perceived as a threat by Arlene Jensen.
We talked to David, her son, and of course, he led us to others who would have been close to Arlene and would know things about her, where she should have been, and just general information about your victim. Was she having trouble with anyone?
Sergeant Gradden learns that Arlene had a boyfriend, and the week before she went missing, they had taken a trip together.
Most homicides are committed by people who know people. So you want to start and kind of work out from there and eliminate those you can.
Since Arlene's apartment showed no apparent signs of forced entry, maybe her boyfriend had a key, let himself in that night, and surprised Arlene in bed. Detectives speak with the boyfriend. He seems cooperative.
If you have any sense at all, you come to the realization that it's probably not going to do you any good to talk to the police unless you're really innocent.
Arlene's boyfriend is not only helpful, he agrees to take a polygraph test.
Yes or no, please.
A polygraph test can be used for a lot of purposes. Certainly for elimination of suspects, to make sure that something hadn't happened wrong with her boyfriend or something along those lines, but we at least had a focus at that point.
Arlene's boyfriend passes with flying colors. For the moment, he is dropped as a suspect. But as he is leaving, he tells Sergeant Gradden that Arlene did have issues with her future son-in-law. He's the father of her 2 grandkids, a man named Gary Ackley. Allegedly, Arlene had problems with the way Gary was raising her two grandchildren.
There was a period of time where Arlene Jensen was not having any contact with her daughter Julie and her grandchildren because of the lack of a relationship that she had with Gary Ackley. It was well known to anybody and everybody who knew Arlene that she was tormented by the fact that she wasn't able to see her grandchildren.
28-year-old Gary Ackley works in a tool manufacturing plant. As drummer for a local heavy metal band, Ackley seems to live the rock star lifestyle, late nights and alleged drug use. But that's not all Arlene resented about Gary Ackley.
Gary Ackley was, by all accounts, a loudmouth. He had a very bad temper. It sounds like he was also pretty good with his fists. He had a reputation of punching people, particularly in the situation where he could punch them before they could punch him back.
There were some allegations that she may have been moving toward turning him or them into the Children's Protective Service regarding the way they handled the children, and Gary had taken great exception to this.
Yet soon after Arlene disappeared, band members claim Ackley abruptly changed his tune.
They all remember this dramatic change in Gary Ackley and how he would refer to her as a sweetheart and an angel.
Grattan is intrigued by the dramatic turnaround in Ackley's demeanor. Is he hiding something? Ackley is brought in for questioning. He claims that on the night Arlene Jensen disappeared, he was visiting a friend.
He told us about the particular car he was driving the night that he would have driven his friend home. He was driving his bronze Pontiac Trans Am. The time was interesting to us because there was clearly a window of time when Gary was unaccounted for in the late evening hours and maybe even into the morning hours. We do know he came home, we believe he came home sometime after midnight for at least a little while and presumably went to bed.
But Ackley's story seems suspicious, and even more so when investigators discover his favorite brand of smokes.
The two cigarette butts that had been located in Arlene's toilet the time she was missing were a basic brand cigarette. We believed from the information we'd received that Gary Ackley smoked that brand. He probably also smoked others, but that was not an uncommon brand for him to smoke.
Still, it's hardly enough to make an arrest, and Gary Ackley is released. Back at the crime lab, forensics expert Terry McAdam conducts tests on the evidence collected at Arlene's apartment. McAdam is especially intrigued by the odd metal fragments found on the bathroom towels.
There was like steel fragments, brass fragments, some shiny, some not, and it was quite a mixture of different sizes and shapes and colors of metal fragments.
McAdam wonders if similar fragments are also present on Arlene's body.
After autopsy, all her clothing then was submitted into the lab. She was wearing a cotton nightie, I seem to remember, and a purplish blue color of polar fleece jacket. So then we looked to see if there were metal fragments on her, and yes, indeed there was. So then we started to analyze them to see was there any link between the two sets of metal fragments.
Under the microscope, McAdam sees a common pattern. All of the fragments are spherical in shape.
Well, the types of metals, again, it's similar to the blood. It told you that if you've got a brass type of metal present, and you've got little spheres of metal present, and you've got spirals shaped